I made a spaceship. Pretty cool, hey? No, but seriously, that's my brace. Obviously, it's gonna be made of steel, not of cardboard, but that's the idea. Let's go. So the idea is to go in these holes over that and support it like that. So it's obviously it's a bit bulky now because it's made of cardboard, which is about 5 or 6 mil thick. This is going to be made of 2mm sheets, so it will look a bit better. But that's the idea behind it. I want to have it like a single well, it's box section really, but it's from the back. I don't know if you can see. Okay, it will look pretty slick, I think. Just kind of follow the whole build, follow the whole frame, and so I think it'll look pretty good. Won't be as bulky, but it will be more than strong enough to support my fat ass. Right, let's bolt it on and see if it works, and then I'm gonna cut it out of steel sheets. Uh-oh, fuel arrived. Let's have one. Another long session. Cheers, everybody. By the way, I do not encourage you to consume alcohol when you're working on heavy machinery or angle grinders or any kind of hammers or some other stuff. But I do because I'm stupid, so don't do what I do. Yeah, cheers. Okay, so here we are. That's the piece that will go this way. Over here as a main support. There's a shock over here, and it moves slightly when you hit the bumps. It moves slightly up and down. I mean, there's like not even 10 mil of movement, so I cut out this hole over here just to make sure it clears. Marked up roughly when the frame is going to be supported, and yeah, I think next thing, just to make it easier, because I've done the cardboard cutout, but it's never super accurate. So I'm going to just start with the side piece, and then start just bend it around around that shape over here, just to leave enough room on one side to another, so I can cut it off later to shape. But as long as I've got this shape bent one side and the other, I can just quickly tuck it in like 3 or 4 places, and then I can cut it off once it's solid on the square and solid on the one piece. And from that I can flip it over and cut out the back of this section, because it's not exactly the same. It's going to be slightly longer because the bracket doesn't cut straight on top. Obviously it needs to be mounted, so it needs to be like 45 degrees or something. I've got it worked out over there, but I think that's the best step to do right now. Just start bending it around and see what it takes us. Okay, so what I've done here is put these pieces I had for the side of it, put them together in a vise, and then I was just bending them by hand gently, bit by bit, so they're exactly the same. As you can see, they are. And now I just need to flip it, and I got my piece. Well, I'm nearly there. There's some final adjustments needed, but like over here and over there, obviously I can cut it off later to what I need, but I think I just go around, bend it a little bit slightly, and then I tack weld it in the back in a couple of places, so it's like strong, and I can finally adjust it and then flip it over and cut the back from the unit. Obviously that's too long, but I need to chop it, I need to cut it off, later on. I'm liking that. Looks good so far. There we go. A little bit needed over here and on this side, but other than that, I'm quite happy with this. Obviously, if there's any imperfections, I can just grind it off or do some other bits, but so far. Rock and roll. Here we go. There we are current state of play. I switched camera off for a little bit, just to how often you can watch grinding and cutting and welding, so I'm just making some progress off camera. Obviously that needs trimming, that needs bending, and the back plate needs to be on it, but it's taking shape already. It already feels strong, really strong. Once we put it back on it and seal this off, it's going to be incredibly strong. Let me show you how it looks on the bike. Okay, so this bad boy will go in here. There we go. That's its position where it should be. Square to the frame and to the subframe. They are exactly same length when it touches the subframe from each side. I need to figure out to bend these up and cut them so they go flush with the bottom of that. There will be a seam weld from there, probably from the inside or the outside or both, I don't know yet. But before I do that, I need to just trim it down, cut it properly, and get a back piece. So we should start exactly the same as on the bottom, but on the top obviously it's going to be slightly longer because I need to touch flush to the this part of a subframe. And with this underneath, the whole contraption is going to be super solid. That on its own is solid. I could probably sit on it right now and it support me. I'm pretty sure it would. In fact, let's try. Yep, both feet off the ground, and the thing's not even moving. So if that's not gonna make it strong enough, I don't know what will. I'm very confident about the quality of that thing, and I'm actually quite happy with the way the whole thing looks at the moment. With this over there, it's gonna have this single kind of brace. Obviously it's a dual brace, but it kind of looks a bit neat than just two tubes going over here on one side or the other. I think that makes it just a little bit more special. think it does. From the back, it will again look pretty sexy. I mean, look at that lines. Once this is all trimmed properly, the whole thing just looks sexy. Wow. Sometimes I surprise myself, and that is definitely one of those occasions. Good stuff. Let me try to finish this before the end of today and see what happens. So we've got another day today. Last night ran out of time a little bit. It was a bit late, and energy, because constant thinking about making that square and all that is kind of draining. So I called it a night. But today we carry on with the bracket, the support section for the subframe, part of the subframe. Created a back piece for it. Again, it needs some finishing off, but it's pretty good match as it is. It's going on the back like this. However, before I weld this piece on the back, I was rethinking the design a little bit, and the weakest point of that whole box section, because once that's on the back, it becomes a box section which is stronger than anything on the bike probably anyway. The weakest part is this bracket over here, because I made it from a 2mm thick mild steel. That is the weakest point of it, especially when I drill a M10 hole through it for the bolt mounts. So to deal with it, I'm gonna do this. Basically another piece of 2mm steel, sorry, and bend it to shape so it goes right in here, because that section I wanted to close it off anyway from top, and obviously the bottom will be the under tray, and that's closed off this way, but underneath that needs to be trimmed around. But underneath I want to close it off so I don't get any water or dirt going in there. Obviously that's been sitting right underneath around the shock and the rear tire, or the shit from the road is going to get in there, water and all that. I want to stop this, so that needs to be welded off as well. It's a happy accident really that it does, because I'm gonna just brace it this way and weld on top, create like a seam weld, and then grind it flat. To get a good seam weld, you need a high temperature on the lots of amperage if you prefer it. High temperature on the welder, and slow wire speed, so it really penetrates deep inside, goes in, and then you can grind it off flush, and that pretty much becomes one piece. And it's going to be 4mm, and 4mm it's more than thick enough for the job. Then drill another hole over here, cut it to a size, trim it nicely, and yeah, once it's done, I'm gonna put it on the bike, and we're gonna weld it over there, tack weld it on there, and that will pretty much summarize the section for today. So let's get to it. Okay, they may not be the prettiest welds in the world, but that went all the way deep in there, and once that grinded off nice and flush, it will be one. Here we go. What was 2 mil pieces, now it's 1 4 mil thick piece of steel, grinded completely flat, and no sign of the unit being joined anywhere. So quite happy with that, actually. If it wasn't strong before, it's pretty strong right now, that's for sure. Right, I'm going to do some welds inside now, as many as I can fit in here, and then the rest I'll do on the outside before I put the back piece on it. You see that needs dressing up as well a little bit, and then prop into the bike, but that's the idea. Okay, let's do this. And once we're on the safety issue, make sure you wear protective clothing all around, not only just eye protection, but proper leather clothing or whatever when you're welding and grinding, because these little sparks, and from an angle grinder and from a welder, they look pretty cool when they fly in at a million miles an hour, but they are hot and it burns and fucking hurts. You see me welding in the t-shirts, and that's fair play, but I'm not exactly a role model, am I? So don't do what I do. You know, I'm far from being a role model. So in fact, you probably are the last person you would like your daughter to bring back home now, do you? Anyway, look after yourself, guys out there, because don't do what I do. Basically, maybe this way. Don't do what I do. It's my own responsibility what I do over here. If I choose to weld with a t-shirt, that means I'm stupid. And that's fair play, I can live with that. Alright, let's get back to the project.